Hello, and welcome to the 31st of Decem-Baron 2020. Today is the final Decem-Baron 2020 video, and today I have a message to share. A message of reflection, but also of looking and moving forward. In this message, I will express my thoughts and feelings about the past year and looking at 2020 as a whole, as well as the growth and accomplishments I've seen under the moniker and brand of, so to speak, of Barondipitous. I will also look ahead with hope and optimism as I explain my honest vision and my modest goals for what I hope to see and achieve in 2021. I don't know if I'll do Decem-Baron videos next year, but I figure that's a bridge I can cross when the next holiday season approaches. So, without further ado, a look back. In December of 2019, high hopes were set for the momentous year that 2020 surely would become. The nice round, double crit number, as well as the apparent end of a decade, made many people quite excited for the prospects ahead. At this point, I hope you'll indulge me in using a now tired phrase, and then COVID happened. Lives and livelihoods have been disrupted. Disasters have raged and blasted all around us. There were defeats that devastated, but also victories that vindicated. Amidst all of that, do you know what the most impressive thing is? You're still here. Challenges beyond our sight and control made this year terrible, but the people around us made it bearable. As for myself, I, Barondipitous, have seen unexpectedly explosive growth in my online reputation and recognition, particularly in the Brawlhalla community. My Twitter account managed to break 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5,000 Twitter followers this year, almost entirely thanks to my participation in the reveal weeks for the Brawlhalla Battle Pass Seasons 1 and 2, the first in May and the second in September. There were other factors that helped, of course. Jakey Boy Kaufman and others like him come to mind for all their efforts to get me to 5,000 followers because of my promised face reveal. Even so, I do not think it is an exaggeration to say that my invitation into the Brawlhalla Partnership Program back in September of 2019 was the single greatest factor that can account for my growth as an online creator and personality, second only to the things that led to that invitation in the first place, my lore wikis and quizzes. When I say all this, I don't think that any future invitees to the Brawlhalla Partnership Program should expect the same amount of growth. It'll be different for different people depending on how they engage with their content and their audience and things like that. I also don't say all this to boast of myself, but rather in the spirit of humble gratitude to the people who made these opportunities possible for me, especially to Darius Guerrero from Appster Incorporated, and especially to the wonderful developers at Blue Mammoth Games, and to each and every person behind each and every number on my social media pages. When you look at my Twitter profile, it is not just about one person. More than 5,000 people are on that profile along with me, and that is just incredible to me. Thank you. Truly. I can feel the tremendous support and appreciation, and I can only hope to do my best to continue to return the favor. But that is not all I have seen and done this year. I have completed graduate school, receiving a master's degree in library and information science. I have succeeded and failed and succeeded as a director. I have written over 100 pages of script for various projects, including Brawlhalla Underworld, Banner Media's Almost Home, and a few others. I have helped over half a dozen people improve their poetry, school papers, and college admission essays as part of my holiday gift during my education, using my education and experience as a copy editor and proofreader. I have become an amateur pixel artist, for goodness sake, just because it looked fun to me. This next thing is more about growth than accomplishment, but the events I've witnessed and participated in this year, especially during the summer and fall, have led to a tremendous increase in my empathy and concern for people and for groups outside of my own. People of different nationalities, races, orientations, identities, health conditions, philosophies, and worldviews. Because of those events and the way they've impacted me, I've been able to do what so very little I can to help encourage people to be better, smarter, happier, and more honest with ourselves in spite of everything this year. Looking back, I am certain that I've had a noticeable positive impact on at least a couple of people this year. And if that is all I've done, then I count this as a successful year for myself. That is honestly one of the things I'm most grateful to 2020 for, giving me greater glimpses into the experiences of others, helping me to have more patience for myself and for my fellow persons. There are many, many more things that I have done and succeeded and seen and failed at in 2020, but the rest of them tend to be too small or too personal to merit mention here. So I will now move on to looking ahead. I'd like to share my vision of what I hope I can do and be as Serendipitous in 2021. This past Sunday, in the process of honest reflection, I asked others who or what Serendipitous is to them, to help me get a better idea of where and how I can be most effective in what I'm involved in. From what I've learned in those brief chats, it is beginning to occur to me that maybe I should focus less on whether I make content and instead continue with what I seem to be doing best, being me in a community I love. I'll go into more detail about that later. There are certainly other things I love besides Brawlhalla, and I continue to engage with people about Appster Incorporated games, Banner Media Studios, Dungeons & Dragons, and more. But the majority of my audience of followers is from the Brawlhalla community, honestly, and so I will, of course, continue to engage as much as I can with you in those circles. Some time ago, I was introduced to a video by a YouTube creator named CGP Grey. The video was titled Your Theme. The entire CGP Grey channel is phenomenal, by the way. I especially liked his Spaceship U video as well earlier this year. And this video is no different. In Your Theme, CGP Grey proposes the use of themes instead of hard set goals or resolutions, because we all know that the vast majority of us are just setting ourselves up to fail when making such specific goals with the intention of improving ourselves generally. Instead, CGP Grey suggests themes, which is a single word or phrase that is broad enough to be flexible, but also resonates enough with you to guide your way of thinking throughout the year or even through a season in a positive general progression towards what you want for yourself. Some examples he gives of good themes are learning, health, poise, attention, growth, reading, etc. For more details about this idea, I encourage you to set aside 7 minutes to watch the video yourself using a link I put in the description. For the upcoming year, I considered themes like optimism, gratitude, and joy, but I think I already do those. I already have a general habit of looking for something to be grateful for on a near daily basis, looking for the best in others, giving the benefit of the doubt where appropriate, and just generally finding joy and gladness in the little daily things. If I want to improve myself, I should focus on concepts that might need a little more work, or that I want to make particularly more effective. In the end, for my 2021, I have determined the following themes. First, the quarter of completion. All my life, even now, I've had an awful habit of starting something fun and exciting and not completing it because I realized partway through that I was way in over my head, or maybe losing motivation for it later down the line. The first 3 months of the new year, I will focus on completing things that matter to me. Projects, games, tasks, milestones, and so forth. I will probably not complete everything I want to during this time, but I believe I will complete more than I would if I didn't have this theme as a general focus. I chose this theme to start with because before I commit to more things, I need to first take care of some creative clutter around me that I've accumulated over 2020. January through March, I will complete a few things, and that will make a difference for me, I think. I'll mention a few of the things I'm planning for my quarter of completion a little bit later. Second, spring and summer 2021 will be my seasons of synergy. This past year, as I became known to thousands as a partnered content creator with Brawlhalla, I have wondered on numerous occasions what my content actually is. I've made YouTube videos, but I don't think anyone would call me a YouTuber like Egg Soup, Lucian Sword, Planet Micro, or Schwarpy. I've streamed on Twitch, but would any of you call me a streamer in the same way you use the term to describe Crocky, Defensive, or Phazon? I have made works of art before, especially pixel art, but I am nowhere near the caliber and training of Jade Wares, Lemon Empress, Sunsero, or Tataya Furkeem. It is also incredibly obvious, I think, that I do not have the initiative, talent, or drive, or time to be a pro Brawlhalla player, especially when Boomy, Sandstorm, and so many others are right there. When Brawlhalla first messaged me back in September 2019, inviting me into their new partnership program, I pointed out even then that any noteworthy content I had in the community was really just my Brawlhalla lore site, as well as my personal familiarity with said lore. I certainly won't downplay the amount of effort and the usefulness of the Brawlhalla lore wiki site that I've made, nor will I downplay the utility that I seem to have become in the community as a unofficial lore master. And I am incredibly proud of the unique niche I've quickly found myself in with the Brawlhalla community. But as my notoriety as a partnered content creator grew this year, and even now that I have that title in the game of Brawlhalla itself, I had to wonder, what am I as Barondipidus? What is my content really? I have seriously struggled with this question over and over this year, and after a fair amount of thought and feedback, I realized that, like I mentioned before, maybe I should focus less on whether I make content and continue with what I seem to be doing best, being me in a community that I love. In fact, when Saturn responded to me about the question of what is Baron, she shared her thoughts with me like this, and I share this quote with her permission. Regardless of what content you make, Baron, you are a great icon and image to have in the Brawlhalla community. You set an amazing example for anyone, artists, pros, streamers, content creators, and anybody else, and you show the community what someone in it should exemplify, a mature and positive image for anyone in it who needs it. I honestly think for you, content creation would be a cherry on top. You already work on projects and stuff, and in a way, that is content creation. But you have so many followers and people looking up to you for just being your own Baron self. I really appreciated those kind words. And there were others who shared some similar thoughts with me, but I think Saturn put it best. Plus, it's not just about what others say, it's also about what ideas resonate with me for the future steps I, as Barondipidus, will take. What does all this have to do with seasons of synergy? Well, this spring and summer, after the quarter of completion, I wish to focus on continuing to improve my interactions with all of you. The word synergy, along with being alliterative with the words spring, summer, and seasons, is a term used for cooperation and interaction, with the purpose of achieving results greater than the sum of their parts. What this will mean for me this next year is a greater focus on being a great community member. Maybe one day that will mean a new stream on Twitch. Maybe another day it will mean spending a little more time exchanging ideas with someone else in the community. At another time, it may mean a greater ounce of support from me for another person's worthy cause or initiative or creation. Maybe instead of just liking something, I will comment or even retweet it or something like that. Things along those lines. This, to me, can all be summed up in a single word that, though slightly notorious for its overuse in corporate circles, serves my sentiments well. Synergy. It's also one of the 7 habits of highly effective people, so there you go. For my third theme, that's it, actually. I seriously considered planning an additional theme or 2 for the year, but I didn't feel I could set them in good faith so far in advance. The global pandemic has made it very, very hard to reliably see what things will be like even more than a quarter or two ahead. How will the new vaccines improve the situation? How will we live, play, and do business in the latter half of 2021? Will it be viable to meet each other in person at conventions and LAN tournaments, which, by the way, is something I really, really hope to be able to do the next chance I get? No one really knows right now. All we have are educated guesses and hypotheses, and I would rather wait until partway through my seasons of Synergy before committing myself to something that may become irrelevant or unhelpful later on. All this isn't to say that I won't be very interactive during the quarter of completion or that I won't complete things during the seasons of Synergy. Though these themes I've chosen are just ways to focus my attention on things I want to improve about myself at certain times as a person and as an online personality. While these themes will be my focus for the foreseeable future, I still have a few goals that I wanted to set because there are a handful of specific, attainable things I would like to accomplish in the next few months, especially in the first quarter, and they align quite well with the themes I mentioned earlier. Here are some of them. I want to get both the Apsar Wiki and the Brawlhalla Lore Wiki completely up to date by January 31st, 2021. It is quite unfortunate that I've allowed both sites to fall quite behind in behavior of in favor of other projects, and it's high time I prioritize the very things that helped me get recognition as Barondipitous in the first place. I want episodes 1 through 10 of Brawlhalla Underworld to be published in the first half of the year, if possible. I actually have an earlier, more specific date in mind for this, but I realize with so many people involved, this project is not entirely in my control, and I certainly do not want to subject myself or anyone else to the very egregious phenomenon we gamers have come to know as crunch. Things are moving forward, and I will do all I can to make the process fun for all, and the end result good for our audience. I promised to do Twitch streams to celebrate 4,000 and 5,000 Twitter followers, and I still wish to do them. For the 4K stream, I plan to finally get myself going on a Barondipitous cosplay. For 5K, I still don't quite know. I am currently open to suggestions. When I have set dates and times for those streams, and I hope to make it relatively soon, I will announce them on Twitter. I will not have any numerical goals. In other words, I don't have specific ambitions to reach a certain number of followers or subscribers on any platform in 2021. Attaining greater recognition or even being able to make a monetary living off of my work and use of skills in the community is quite an attractive prospect, and it is possible I may find appropriate opportunities in the future, but setting such numbers as a form of motivation for my online engagement just doesn't feel right for Barondipitous. Nor would it be very sustainable for me emotionally, mentally, or fiscally. Besides, if given a choice, I would rather get to do fun things than feel like I have to do fun things for money or fame. This is why I keep my online ambitions in check. In lieu of numerical goals, like I said before, I will move forward as the best Baron I can be, focusing first on a quarter of completion, then the seasons of Synergy, and then, who knows? I can only guess at the opportunities that await me and you for the next year, but I am certain that we can all have at least a slightly better 2021 than 2020. Having said all of that, I am getting ready to conclude this message. You know, this past summer I was ready to launch an initiative to get the Brawlhalla YouTube account to 10 million subscribers to get a promised Orion face reveal. I had an inspiring speech written and recorded and everything, but, well, things happened and causes came up that I could not control, and I did not want to be overshadowed by this thing. Man, I even had some inspirational music for that speech. But you know what? For the time being, screw that. This is the inspirational speech now. Heck, I'll even bring out the same music I was going to use in that other speech. Now that's what I'm unironically talking about. This year, in 2020, you are to be congratulated and admired, for you have done what no one has had to do in 100 years. Deal with a global pandemic at your age. Here's to those who can hear my words, present and future. Here's to you for smiling or laughing or smirking even once during this incredibly tiring, frustrating, absurd year. Here's to you, a pioneer, a survivor, a hero. When this year was about to start, a lot of people considered a decade coming to a close, starting with anew with 2020. Well, why can't this be the start of a new decade, 2021 to 2030? You can even look back on how the previous decade prepared you or not for 2020, and you can look ahead towards the new decade, older, wiser, and more grateful for what you have and what you've achieved. I paraphrase CGP Grey slightly in saying this, but any amount of progress, even getting back to a previous positive state or even slowing down a negative trend during 2020, no matter how small, is incredible progress. If you've accomplished something, improved anything in any small way, created something you were pretty happy with, or just had the corners of your mouth turned sincerely upwards just once in 2020, that, I think, is cause enough for celebration. In spite of it all, I am grateful for this year. Thank you, 2020, for your invaluable lessons to me on patience, empathy, compassion, endurance, humility, and gratitude. Thank you, but also good riddance. May this year be a little kinder, more gracious, and a little more joyous for each and every one of us. Thank you, dear listener, for listening. Thank you for being here. Make it a great day. Make it a great year. And as always, sincerely and truly, from me to you, all the best.